Let's put some beats on. And there we go. Adjust that camera just a bit. I think that hits the sweet spot. Welcome everyone to the Ales and Fails Twitch stream. I'm your host, Alewolf, otherwise known as Ales, gentleman streamer, otherwise known as the excellence of execution. No, that's not me, that's actually Bret Hart. Happy Friday night, everyone. Thank you very much for sharing your very limited time with us. Very happy to see you here this evening. Let me know the toils and troubles that you got through to get through this dastardly week, and here's hoping that you've got some fun stuff coming up for you later down the weekend. I've certainly got a few things down the pipeline, selling upstream, downstream, upstream. It's one of those. So tonight, we'll actually be going back to Radical Dreamers for our retro block. Longtime viewers of the stream will remember that 3 weeks ago I started this venture thinking, hey, this is a good idea. It's a text adventure. It's actually quite simple to go through. It's mostly reading and making choices. Little did I know, and little was my body prepared for the fact that it involved copious amounts of reading. My throat wasn't in the best position, and so I think after halfway through the stream, I essentially gave up and was mostly reading half of the text as it came along. I am not sure that I'm going to go ahead and read every single little thing that's on the screen, because that is a tall ask, even if my throat is healthy. But I think I'll be a little more judicious with the stuff that I read. My throat is certainly a lot better than it was that one time. And it's funny because maybe actually that worked out for the best, because I was actually supposed to stream this last weekend, but instead I decided to go back to Donkey Kong Country simply because my throat wasn't up to the task. So good things come from slightly more difficult situations, I guess. Imagine that. Silver linings, as I say, silver linings playbook. So anyways, before we get started, let's go ahead and talk about what's on tap tonight. I'm gonna say that I cheated here, because tonight what we have is a helping from Two Town Cider House. It's a fun can. It's as far as I can tell, it's an astronaut on a surfboard, but because he is in outer space, it might as well be a spaceboard, or maybe a hoverboard. This one is Tropical Cosmic Crisp, and the reason why I say I'm cheating, it's because I had Cosmic Crisp, the original, earlier today, and the difference between original Cosmic Crisp and Tropical Cosmic Crisp is the fact that the Tropical Cosmic Crisp actually includes passion fruit and hibiscus. Well, specifically passion fruit, which I guess is considered a tropical fruit. So it gives it a slightly more tropical edge. Earlier tonight, I wanted to have something a little more focusing on the sweetness of apples. I do love ciders, as those of you know. But tonight I wanted to start with something a little more exotic, if you will. So what is a cider exactly? Why are you watching me drink a cider when actually this is a stream that talks about beers and plays games. Well, a cider is not that different from ales, to be perfectly honest with you. The main difference between ciders and beers is the fact that rather than have grains be the fermenting factor, you actually have fruits, and the primary fruit that is used in ciders is apples. And I do love me a good straight up apple cider, but you know what, there is such a thing as creativity. Sometimes we have to break down the walls of convention and come up with something a little bit better. And so you have things like passion fruit, like this suggests. One of my favorite ciders and something that I can never forget are pear ciders. I love them to death, way more than apple ciders. I love pineapple ciders as well. They're probably number 2 in my list. And from my hometown, I do love some guava ciders. So there's definitely a world out there of ciders. I suggest you try them all, collect them all 151 of them, and let me know what you think. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's go ahead and talk about what is on tap tonight. And in order to do that, let's go ahead and pull up the Untapped here. Let's go to... That's a little more agreeable. So, Tropical Cosmic Crisp from Two Towns Cider House. Shred the galactic gnar. That's the first time I've ever seen that word. With this interstellar island variation of cosmic crisp, crafted with purple passion fruit, hibiscus flowers, and cosmic crisp apples. Don't forget your shades and SPF 10-100. We're getting pitted on some epic solar flares. And that's a ruddy color right there. I'm very excited to actually see this one pour. That's a very exciting description. I like that. I'm a very big fan of just like very lively descriptions when it comes to beers and ciders, of course. So let's go ahead and pour this gal. See what it's like. And actually, let me go ahead and switch back to intermission. And voila. And so it is actually pink. It reminds me a bit of pink lemonade, except without all the fizz. Maybe more of a raspberry color, to be perfectly honest with you. Actually, it reminds me of the color of a watermelon Jolly Rancher, if you've ever had those. I don't actually care for Jolly Ranchers. I remember having them as a youth, but I specifically remember my favorite one was a watermelon flavor. And so as you can see, it's quite red. It is translucent. It's very crisp. It has very little on the head, as with most ciders. In terms of a head, it is actually maybe like a squash-like aroma, or maybe like a actually maybe less squash and maybe more of a red apple, but not a red baking apple, if that means anything to you. Like a red-green apple. Yeah, red-green apple. I believe those are called yellow apples. Fang and ale, dear viewer. So it's like a muted candy. It is actually like a Jolly Rancher. It's very flavorful. It's got a nice hint of sourness. It's got good apple, but more of a sourish apple than anything else. Very muted flavors of sweet, but it's not dry. It's not a dry cider, so that's actually a good thing. I actually don't care too much for dry ciders. Blame that on me. I don't have the palate for them. That's okay. But yeah, delightful. I like it. It doesn't have a lingering taste. You could drink something completely different right after this and you would actually be able to taste it. But yeah, very clean and crisp. I would probably have it on a summer day, maybe by the poolside. Yeah, I would love to be by the poolside, next to someone. Yeah, so if you're out there and you see Tropical Cosmic Crisp, I recommend you have it. before I move any further, you know what? Let's go ahead and move further. I'm going to go ahead and update my ticker. I'm going to write my untapped entry, and I'll see you on the other side of this 1-2 minute break in order to play Radical Dreamers. Stay tuned, friends. We're down for some hijinks. Okay, and we are back. Let's go ahead and turn up the desktop audio, turn off all of this music. That's a bit loud. That's a little bit better. Let me know if the levels are way too high for you. That's Sailing in Another World from Chrono Cross. So, as I mentioned before, Radical Dreamers is the episode between Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross. It actually only originally came out in Japan in the Satellaview add-on for the Super Nintendo. It's only recently that it's been legally released for the US in this Switch re-release remaster. I don't exactly know what it is. And yeah, it's a text adventure. But it is a text adventure unlike most I've ever seen recently. It's essentially the whole thing is text. We've got some images, of course, but most of it is stills. You do have some active time elements. But yeah, It is a unique experience. If I might go ahead and delve into some spoilers here, it takes the part from Chrono Cross where you venture into Viper Manor and it expands upon it. And that is probably the best way to go through it. I played through this not successfully a long time ago using a ROM, and now I'm actually trying to finish it, so we'll see how it goes. Again, this is session 2 of this playthrough. Sorry about that. Game through. What is a game through? Jeez. And oh yeah, one thing I completely forgot. So we're going through Viper Manor. I feel like it's like a museum that you're going through. And so I decided for the question of the night, what is your favorite museum? You don't have to have a favorite museum, that's okay. I just thought that I'd ask in case you had one. Self-guided tours, guided tours. It could be art museums, history museums, science museums. Those are lovely too. Let me know what you think, and I'll just go ahead and post this on the chat. I don't know that I have a explicitly favorite museum, but I will say that I did love one of the ones that lingers in my mind, to forever linger in my mind, is Vizcaya. Not Vizcaya. What am I talking about? What is the French one? French museum. Vizcaya is in Miami. Ah, the Louvre. That's what I meant. The Louvre. Yeah, it's that is an experience unlike any other. But that's enough of my taste. Let me know what you think about this. Of course, let me know if this is a non-starter question. That's okay too. Let's get this going. I do believe that I saved properly. I don't think there's any point in actually using save states for this game. Radical Dreamers, Le Trésor Interdit, which I believe means the forbidden treasure. And so I've got 2 save points here. I'll just go ahead and pick the last one. Like I said, I'm trying to play through this relatively cleanly, but after the first session, I did decide to go ahead and like get a map for myself, just because I can't, how to say, if I was actually playing this on my own, I would probably have a notebook and write down where I was going. And so I think it's a lot easier for me to just pull up a map. And I'll actually go ahead and show it on screen over here. This is a map from Game 8, which is a website which I don't care for that much, but they have a nice map, so might as well just include it here. Actually, just put it down here. In fact, maybe instead of putting the website here, I'll just go ahead and save that. And it'll make more sense for me to have it. Is it open? Where is it? Okay, I don't think that's any different. But at least it's not a website. And why that's important? Who knows? But let's go ahead and just plop it on the corner over there. And maybe that'll help us out on our journey. And of course, I immediately just turned it off. Okay. We left the atrium and continued on down the path ahead. Eventually, we came across an ornate door to the right-hand side. There's the door. Something smelled fresh and pleasant. Flowers? Was it coming from inside? So we left the atrium, which is I think we just left the Mouth of Truth, so we are at a junction between the Manor's dungeon and guard room. Came across an ordained door on the right hand side. We went inside or we turned back. I said let's go inside. Let's see what's up. Of course, this could be a trap. It's generally a trap. We found ourselves in a tidy, welcoming room. This is the first time I've been here. One other thing about this game that I will go ahead and say is the fact that, despite the fact that it is spawned from an RPG with very bright colors and just very I don't want to say happy sprites, but just sprites full of energy, I find that Radical Dreamers almost plays like a horror adventure. The music, the color palette that it uses, it is actually very creepy. And so, even though I know that I am playing a derivative of an RPG, it makes me feel like I'm playing a horror game. And so, I'm constantly questioning things that I'm doing. And yeah, it's a very unique experience. The knickknacks and curios dotted around the place seemed to be well loved. The stately desk and the cozy looking bed nearby, meanwhile, suggested the room's occupant was no stranger to luxury. I can only imagine that we are in Lynx's room, actually. Maybe we didn't go to the atrium. Maybe we actually left the hallway of truth and went straight to Lynx's room. Though the room was richly furnished, somehow it still felt awfully lonely. Kit took a quick look around before commenting. "It's Lynx's girl room." A half-written letter on the desk and a teacup, still warm, suggested that the lady of the manor was still nearby. So is it actually Lynx's room? Oh no, wait. It could also be Riddell's room. But it didn't seem that anyone was here now. We decided to search the room. Some charming flowers. Oh. Hey, is that Magus? Wait, sorry. Some charming flowers, a discarded cotton handkerchief, a small bottle of perfume. That's us. Nothing that meant much to me, nor anything that seemed particularly valuable. Kit seemed to have the same impression and scanned the room clearly, not expecting to find anything. The only item of note was a small antique box, which bore a crest resembling a viper. I decided where to look next. So a little box, a chest of drawers, or examine the bed. Good question. Let's examine the bed, because I don't know. The comfortable looking bed caught my attention. I patted it gently. Ye gods, it was even softer and cozier than it looked. I lifted the edge of a blanket. It was so light that I could barely feel it at all. How could it be so downy? And how come it smelled so nice? Suddenly, Kid kicked me right in the backside. "Ah! What are you doing?" The momentum sent me flying onto the bed. Kid stood over me, glowering menacingly. "What are you doing? More like fondling the linen and grinning like a loon?" I wasn't grinning. She gave me a derisive grunt and turned her back on me. "Pah! Could have fooled me. Why don't you sniff her bloody pillow while you're at it?" Without warning, she grabbed me by the arm and yanked me off the bed and toward the door. "We're leaving. You obviously can't be trusted in a girl's bedroom." I wasn't doing anything. You got it all wrong. But she wasn't convinced, and I was left with a distinct feeling I'd been branded some kind of bed-sniffing weirdo. Hey, you know what? if the shoe fits. I'm gonna decrease the size of the map over here. You know what, let's go ahead and put it as tiny as possible so that it doesn't actually occupy any real estate in the game. The passage outside the room continued to our left and right. The path to the right led deeper into the darkness of the manor. Meanwhile, going left would take us to the atrium and another branch. So I think we have to go to Lynx's room. I think we need to keep going. Hopefully we don't find Lynx, I guess. I actually don't know what Lynx looks like in this game, but we know what he looks like in Chrono Cross. We went down the dark passageway, eventually finding ourselves at a sturdy-looking, immaculately polished door. There it is. Kid sniffed the air. Just as I thought, something stinks here. I reckon we found the beast's lair, lads. In the darkness, Kid's lips twisted in a grin that turned my blood cold. Is that a good sign? Should we go in? We're gonna go in. Kid opened the door and slipped inside. That is a familiar song. It's from Chrono Cross. This is actually the Viper Manor theme in Chrono Cross. So this is actually bringing back a lot of memories. I should really play Chrono Cross again sometime. That was the reason I got a PlayStation. Kid opened the door and slipped inside. It was Lynx's room, but he didn't seem to be around, lucky us. Ha! The bugger's gone and scarpered 'cause he's heard I was coming. There was something deeply unpleasant about the room. There wasn't anything unusual about the furniture and fittings. Not how they looked or how they were made, but taken as a whole, it all felt discordant. Was this a reflection of Lynx? A seemingly ordinary facade that hid a disturbing truth only some could see. Right. I bet we'll find the key to the vault in here, or a clue about where to find it. I started searching through the room. The desk drawers, the paintings on the wall, the vase on top of the side of the table. I left no stone unturned. There didn't seem to be anything suspicious. But as I scanned the room, something was unusual caught my eye. There was a pedestal in one corner with a significant-looking scarlet cloth drawn over it. I slowly raised my hand towards it. I carefully pulled the cloth away, revealing a mirror. Okay, there it is. It was old-fashioned and of an elaborately decorated style I'd seen before, and in it was reflected a statue of Venus. Well, it's the reflection of an actual statue of... Okay, I guess the statue of Venus is in front, and then you can see the back. Suddenly, the eyes of the statue shone with light. That is creepy. What is your desire? The mirror, it's speaking. Kid and Magiel ran to my side. There's no need for panic. It's a whispering mirror. Nothing more, said Magiel flatly. What's one of those? A magical mirror in which spirit dwells. The spirit can freely move between its own and other mirrors, and it will share its wisdom with those who ask. Interesting. What should I ask it? Where the key to the vault was. We asked where Lynx was. Asked it about Kid's measurements. I don't think anything good is gonna come out of me asking about Kid's measurements. Let's just go with the straightforward question and ask where the key to the vault is. Do you know where the key to the vault is? The mirror's reflection rippled and changed to reveal a room with numerous bookshelves. And for those of you just tuning in, we're enjoying a tropical cosmic crisp. A delicious cider with some delicious passion fruit. You will find the key in the place I have revealed, the study. It is inside a book with a purple cover in the furthest bookshelf from the door. The image of the study vanished from the mirror, and the voice went silent. It appears the spirit has left for another mirror, commented Magil. To the study then. As I made to leave the room, a low voice rumbled through the air, stopping me dead in my tracks. I don't like this. Beware, he knows. Was it the voice of the mirror again? What did it mean? Hurry up, or we're leaving you behind, Serge, called Kid from outside. Flustered, I rushed after her. And we are out of this room. This is creepy. This is creepy. But that's okay. We're all here, together. The corridor stretched out beyond the door. We retraced our steps. Eventually, we came across an ornate door on the left-hand side. It was Riddell's room, Lynx's daughter. And so, if we're looking at the map, and we want to go back to the study, we actually have to go past Riddell's room. We continued on our way. We continued in the corridor until we reached an intersection. There was a left turn in the corridor leading to some stairs going upward. The corridor also continued straight on towards the entrance to a large plaza-like atrium. I think we're going to go to the study. The passage to the stairway was short. Again, that's a staircase, and it's one of these very tight like staircases. It's like a church tower almost, if you've ever been to one of those. With Kid leading the way, we started to climb the narrow staircase. At the top, we found another intersection. Taking the corridor to the right would lead us to a dead end with a large door, while the way to the left to the terrace. The narrow side passage in front of us was open. Okay, so we don't want to go to the terrace. The terrace is actually the beginning where we start. So we have to go to the study. We headed down the side passage. At the end of it, came to an old, immaculately polished door. This was the study. We went inside. Jeez, I kind of just feel like some of these sounds remind me of a Resident Evil opening of doors and things like that. Though this is actually quite low tech. Right, let's find this key. Light on her feet as always, Kid moved into the center of the room. Where'd the mirror say it was again, Serge? She was asking me? How was I supposed to remember? The book with a blue cover, and then, oh, okay. I think it was purple in the far bookcase. Does anyone, let me know in chat if you actually remember what it was. I think it was purple in the far bookcase. Trying to think. I wish I could just watch this VOD, but you know, I'll go ahead and take a sip while I think about this. And this is why you take notes while you are going on a text adventure. Alright, we're gonna go with my gut instinct here. I think it was supposed to be the one with the purple cover in the furthest bookcase. Alright, let's see. Seeming to take my word for it, Kid made for the case in question. Right, this is the one. Purple cover. Aha! This has gotta be it! Kid pulled out a book from the bottom shelf. Megala and I watched as she opened it. The pages were hollowed out, and hidden inside was an old key, decorated with strange symbols. Eureka! 7. Nailed it! Nice one, Serge! Kid snatched the key from inside of the book. Right! Time to finally get a look at this treasure. Having got what we came for, we left the study. We made our way back down the dark side passage leading from the study. Eventually, we were right back at an intersection. Some stairs. Okay, so now we're at a branching corridor. So, let's see. I actually don't remember where... Well, I assume that the place that we need to go to is the treasure vault. I don't think we've actually been there. So let's go back to the terrace. After a short walk down the corridor, the terrace came into view. And I don't think we need to go into the terrace. I think we need to just keep going. A short way along the corridor, running from the right-hand side of the terrace, we found an ancient-looking door, again on our right. And I think that's the clock tower door. And let's go ahead and continue. That's actually where we met the old lady, who was helpful, but creepy. We returned to creeping down the darkened hallways as silently as we could. Continuing on down the corridor, we came across a rather sturdy-looking door on our left. A little further on stood a stairway leading upward. Well, this door is clearly meant to keep something safe. If there ain't some kind of treasure behind it, me name ain't Kid. Yep, that's the smell of cold hard cash, all right, she muttered to herself as she began to inspect the door more closely. So let's go inside. Hopefully the key is actually the key to open this door. This should do it. Kid slipped the key we'd found in the lock. Lines of magical light flashed across the surface of the door and vanished as various magical barriers were dispelled. Okay, that was a rainbow of colors. And here's the Konami code. Up, down, left, right, blue, green. Sorry, up, down, left, right, blue, red, green. Every color under the sun, and then all was quiet, and the darkness of the manor returned. Right, we're in. With a creak, the heavy door gently swung open. As soon as I saw what was inside, I gave a gasp. Kid stepped inside. Whoa, we've hit the mother lode. And let me take a pause here and just suggest that in case there's a battle, I won't actually be able to read everything. One of the things that I learned from Radical Dreamers from that first session is the fact that whenever you're in battle mode, you actually have to respond very quickly to commands. And so I won't actually be able to read out every single little thing that it suggests. I'll do my best, but yeah, just disclaimer there, I won't be able to actually read through everything in case we're actually encountering a battle scenario. What is this? This looks like Contra 3, the Alien Wars. Out of the darkness loomed a veritable mountain of gold, silver, priceless works of art, and exquisite trinkets. Kid looked as if she were on the verge of drooling at the sight of it all, but what thief wouldn't have been? I wonder if they found the One Piece. After all, this was the kind of hoard that few people would ever come across in their lifetime. The smallest fraction of this vast amounts of riches would have seen even the most careless spendthrift set for life. Our goal is the frozen flame. Ignore the rest. Nagel spoke with an icy dedication to our mission. He had not even batted an eyelid at the sight that greeted us. Yeah, I know. She was disappointed, of course, but she soon set about scanning the room for the object of our hunt. Wait, is that it? Look at the pedestal over there. I turned to see what Kid was pointing at. I think that's it. There it was, a small yet perfectly formed jewel that gave off a pale red light. A jewel that looked like a flickering fire suspended in time. That is so interesting. That's a frozen flame. The frozen flame! Silently, Maggie walked towards the pedestal. I called out, I'm gonna tell him that we should be careful. I'm trying to play conservatively here. Wait, we have to be careful. You're right. This is Lynxes we're dealing with. After all, it may very well be trapped. We should be on our guard. We need to be quick about this. But fine, have it your way, grumbled Kid, looking away. Nagel examined the pedestal for a short while, then paused. We were wise to be cautious. Placing his left hand on the base of the pedestal, he muttered an incantation, drawing quick sigils in the air with his right hand. From some of those ninjutsu signals. Some glyphs appeared on its smooth surface, and for a moment blazed brightly. There, now we can proceed. Magiel calmly reached out and grabbed hold of the red jewel. Dun da da da! Serge and friends obtained the frozen flame. Wow, that was quick. It's game over. Whew. We'd managed to get what we came for without anything horrible happening to us. I breathed a sigh of relief and turned again to Magiel. He was staring silently at the jewel in his hands. Magiel, we did it. Wait, let's get out. Before I could finish, the frozen flame crumbled to dust. I'm gonna say that wasn't actually the frozen flame. The flame was a fake. Lynx must be keeping the real one somewhere safe. What? Suddenly, a siren rang out. The room was flooded with light, and Metal Wash slammed down in front of the door. Okay, I think we're going to battle or a trap or something like that, or something scary, which I don't like. I turned with a gasp to see Kid frozen, an ornate crown in her hands, and a wide-eyed look of awkward shock in her face. Dun da da da! Kid and friends obtained a golden crown too. What? You're kidding me, right? You had to go and you complete bonehead! I let rip with a stream of choice insults. In my head, that is. Okay, I see Kid grab the crown, I think. Metallic parrots in the four corners of the room suddenly came to life, flapping their wings and screeching. Ark! Thieves! Thieves! That is my impression of parrots, folks. If you can do better, message me. We're in trouble. These things are going nowhere, said Magiel, inspecting the bars covering the doors. Although, to look at him, you wouldn't have thought there was anything wrong. Which way? The parrots, the vault. We heard voices in the distance. The Manor guards were coming. Kid dived behind a pile of gold and find somewhere to hide. In panic, I looked around the room. There was a large chest sitting across. I rushed to empty it out, then plunged in headfirst and closed the lid. Oh gosh, I thought that was a choice. Captain, there's no sign of anyone in there. No sign. Strange, peculiar. No one has ever escaped before. None have ever fled the mousetrap's clutches, none. I gently pushed up the lid of the chest and peeked through the gap. There were 5 goblins wearing suits of armor, unlocking the gate and about to make their way inside. One of the goblins looked around the room, jerking his neck as he peered into the shadows. Captain, what if actually was a mouse this time? I was grumbling about the mouses the other day, Captain. A mouse? A rodent, a rat? Would a teeny tiny thing like that really have sprung a trap? replied a stocky, plump-looking goblin who must have been the captain. He didn't seem convinced. That was when I heard a strange but oddly familiar sound from a corner of the room. It was coming from where Kid was hiding. Very good voice acting. Startled, the troop of goblins stopped and looked at each other. For a moment, none of them spoke. Eventually, the goblin captain rubbed his chin through his jowls and offered his thoughts. Mouses? I'm sure Chef was complaining about cats. Meow, meow. That voice again. Again, silence. The goblins only looked at each other. So, both mice and cats were... okay. Funny you should say that, Captain. Way I heard it, it weren't mouses or cats, it was a heckran. An awkward silence followed. In my mind's eye, I could see Kid racking her brains to work out what a heckran was. Is that the creature that was taking over the church back in Chrono Trigger? I don't know. Taking a quick breather here, folks. That's a lot of reading. And yes, I understand that we are in a very key position here. Okay. I smell a rat, by which I mean a thief. Following the captain's lead, the guards reached for their weapons, and then... heck, 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 ran, hecka, ran. Listen, it really is a heckran, by heck. That proves it. So I guess heckran followed Pokemon logic in which they essentially just say their name. The goblin guards grinned and nodded to each other. Cheeky little devil, surprised me there. Let's get out of here, boys. The goblins filed out of the vault. I breathed a sigh of relief. And then they came charging back in again with a mighty roar. Okay. There's no such thing as Africans! What? You sneaky little buggers? Kid roared, Kid leaping out from behind a pile of gold coins. Okay, this is battle. You're one to talk, thief! Brandishing their weapons menacingly, the goblins moved slowly forward, forcing Kid into a corner. I quietly eased open the lid of the coffer and slipped out. Can't leave you anywhere, can I muttered to myself. I knew Kid could handle herself, but I didn't fancy her odds against a whole troop of heavily armed goblins. For a moment, I wasn't sure what to do, but then I made up my mind. I had to save Kid. Right, I had to save Kid, of course. There was no way I was going to abandon a friend in need. Even if it meant facing off against a group of 5 goblin guards, I'd find a way to come out on top, I hoped. I drew the knife from my belt and leapt into the middle of this room. But what about a sea squall? Hey, snot for brains, over here! The goblins all turned to look at me at the same time. 10 beady, cruel little eyes all staring daggers at me. Fool! In a hurry to die, are we? I gulped and wondered if making a run for it might have been a better plan of action after all. I'm not leaving Kid no matter what. Ah, humans are so stupid! The goblin captain chuckled and licked his teeth. Yep, this one's got a dash with, alright. Why else would he be so stupid to come after Lord Lynx's treasure? Okay. Huh, that's a first, being called dumb by a bloody goblin. Try acting tough when you're crying your mom later on. Judging my kid's responses, she wasn't feeling massively threatened. And you tell her it was Kid who kicked your teeth in. So you're Kid, are you? The sneaky little slippery thief we've heard so much about. The goblin narrowed his eyes. K. Lord Lynx will be thanking me from now until my retirement when I bring him your head on a silver platter. The goblin captain pulled his morning star from behind his waist and started swinging. I don't like the odds of this. You don't know who you're messing with. We ain't no ordinary goblins, sweetheart. We're Lord Lynx's elite guard. The goblins that gobble other goblins. That's right, the Gob Squad. What? Okay, fight. With that, Kid launched into a lightning fast spinning kick. The boot connected to the side of the goblin's head with a crack, sending the creature's tumbling to the ground. Get him, lads! The boy looks scrawny. Start with him! The goblin captain spun the heavy metal ball of his morning star in the air. Glorious! Glob strike! Aye, aye! The goblins charged across the room in response to their captain's commands. Glob strike incoming! Dodge. Swiftly dodge the attack. Well, I tried to at least. Oh, come on! Sickening impact. Right in agony at the same time trying to lose sight of where the next blow might be coming from. Yeah, that's the spirit, scrawbag. I ain't done with you yet. Another of the goblins hesitated for a moment, only to be run by a spear of pure lightning conjured up my Magiel. The goblin let out blood-curdling howl as it scorched his body. It clutched awkwardly at its chest where it had been struck, its face contorted with agony and horror. Magiel's cape fluttered as his piercing eyes stared coldly at his victim. None who defy me shall escape my wrath. Another goblin flew down from overhead. Bombs away! With a growl, it sent Morningstar swinging from above. Rolled away. Across the floor, dodging the attack. But it wasn't fast enough, and the iron ball crashed straight. Okay, so I'm not. Okay. Jeez, guy. I let a howl as a force of the impact judgered through my body. I never felt such raw pain in my entire life. I rolled around the floor in agony. Ha ha ha! Dance for me, boy. Let me hear you sing. As I crawled on the floor, the shadow of the goblin tore over me like a black mountain. Die, brat! Its lips curled around its fangs with a leering grin, and it raised its weapon over its head. Oh no, you don't. You'll have to go through me first. Kid lashed out with a lingering fast kick. There's more where that came from. Please have mercy. The stricken goblin had collapsed on the floor, its eyes wide with fear. This isn't a game, Surge. Watch yourself, will ya? My head was spinning, but I managed to take the opportunity to rise to my feet. I took a chance to take a drink. Glob strike incoming. Okay, parry the attack. I just about managed to push my enemy's attack aside and tried to strike back with my knife. Only for the goblin to knock away my attack with a flick of its brawny arm and send me crashing to the ground. It's like there's no right answer here, folks. The shocks and the flash of bright white light swimming through my head. It lashed out with a lightning fast kick. There's more where that came from. Please have mercy. Stricken goblin had collapsed on the floor, its eyes wide with fear. This isn't a game, Surge. Watch yourself, will ya? Another goblin threw down from overhead. Bombs away! With a growl, it sent its Morningstar swinging from above. Roll away. The Morningstar crashed into the flagstone, sending sparks flying. Nice! That was a close shave. I made good by escape, going further, clumsily putting some distance between myself and my attacker. Glob strike incoming! The goblin rushed towards me, swinging its weapon. I just about managed to push my enemy's attack aside and tried to strike back with my knife, landing a heavy blow right in the goblin's unguarded flank. The goblin's face crumpled in agony. Nagel conjured up a black wind which surged forth like a shearing tempest. How does a human know a spell like that? Who are you? The goblin was quickly silenced as rushing winds tore through it, and it collapsed to the floor with a fine shriek. Nagel looked down at his victim, his expression unchanged. Long live Lord Lynx. Oh, sorry. Glory to the Gob Squad! With these final words, the goblin collapsed. That was the last of them. We made it. So I think the idea was that if they lunged, I rolled away. But if they simply try and run up to me, I was supposed to parry. But we'll see. We'll see if that was actually true. Ha! Piece of cake! Said Kid, putting a brave fence on things as she wiped the sweat from her brow with her arm. And then she stopped and looked at me. Surge, what were you thinking, you great drongo? Getting the goblins to come after you like that? You really didn't have to, you know. Still, thanks. Can't say I wasn't happy to see your crazy ass jump in like that. She was actually smiling at me. And that, folks, makes it all worth it. Kit's smile kindled a light inside me, and with it a peculiar warmth that came in ripples. And then Maggle stepped in. Save the chatter for later. We can't waste any more time here. The frozen flame must be somewhere else in the manor. Alright, mate. Thanks for stating the obvious. It's not my bloody fault that Lynx has to make things so bloody difficult for everyone. Kit spun on her heel and made a sulky about face for the door. Suddenly, her attention returned to the pile of defeated goblins. This bunch of drongons say they're Lynx's elite guard, right? Bet they've got some nice loot on them. With that, she started unceremoniously rummaging through the falling captain's pockets. She was like a hyena sniffing for scraps. Hello, what's this? She'd found an odd metal plate. It resembled an open hand and was covered in runes. Reckon this might open some other magic door somewhere. Well, never know when it might come in handy either way. Finders keepers. The plate vanished into Kit's pocket. Looks like there's nothing else worth taking, unless you count pocket lint and bits of string. She rose to her feet and looked around the room. You know, it's a real shame to leave the rest of all this loot just sitting here unloved. Suppose we can come back for it whenever. Kid turned to face us and flashed a grin. Alright, lads, get a move on. It ain't gonna be dark forever. That hand-shaped plate is our only clue for now, muttered Maggle, seemingly to himself. And with that, we left the vault in search of the real frozen flame. Okay, so I think we're at a crossroads here, folks. Like I said, I'm not following any sort of walkthrough here other than having that map here in the corner of the screen. I will say that the only thing that rings a bell here is the Mouth of Truth, in which we were supposed to stick our hands in, and I don't know that sticking our hand in there actually did much of anything, but we have a hand now, so maybe that's what we need to use instead. So let's go ahead and do that. And the Hand of Truth, let's go ahead and maximize this because I can't actually see what that says. So we're at the study. We want to go back to the hallway with the Mouth of Truth. So we have to go past the ballroom. The corridor outside the room stretched off to the left and right. The path to the left led to the terrace, and then there was a staircase running upward. I don't think we need to go back to the staircase, that's just a torture chamber. Continue down the corridor, eventually coming across the door to our left. The corridor continued on back towards the terrace. We continued on. And we kept following the corridor. It would be funny if there was a way out of this manor. And you could just go outside and then you could just have standard RPG battles, but this is not that type of game. The path to the right led down the stairs. The path to the left was a dark side passageway, and the main corridor continued straight forward. Okay, so we are going to go not to the study, not back. Onward would be the ballroom, I believe. So let's go down the stairs. And there's those creepy stairways. Slowly we crept down the staircase, descending deeper into the blackness as we went. At the bottom, the path split. The way to the left continued on to an atrium that resembled a sort of plaza, while the path to the right was a winding passageway that trailed off into the darkness. So, I think we need to go to the atrium. You gotta be kidding me, shouted Kid, glaring at me. Are you telling me to swim through a bloody lake of piranodons? Yeah, you can count on me out, mate. How am I supposed to charm me victims with big chunks of bitten out of me? I guess she had a point. Here's a better plan. Why don't we go back to Beardy and try sticking something down his gob? That's what I was trying to do. Sure enough, she pulled out her bundle of odds and ends. Do I have to? I asked, knowing the answer. Which was probably just as well since Kid only glared at me in response. My hand hovered for a moment before I finally reached for something I chose. The hand-shaped plate. I took the hand-shaped metal plate we'd found. After taking another look at the runes, it was no closer to working out what they might mean. Here goes nothing. I stuck the plate into the mouth of Truth's marble maw. As soon as I did so, its eyes rolled upward, and the wall gave a light shudder. A low rumbling sound came from the sculpture's mouth. This, indeed, is the ultimate truth of the universe. Did you hear something? Yeah? I watched the mouth of Truth in confusion. Its great marble tongue lolled out almost like a snake. I'll sit up here a bit. It coiled around the plate, seizing it and pulling it deep inside. What's going on? In a panic, I looked to Magil for answers. Seems like this ineffable truth of the universe has left even the mouth of Truth tongue-tied. Magil answered in his usual deadpan manner. I think he might even have been trying to make a joke. Hang on, so that plate thingy revealed the truth of the universe? And you went on and crammed it down Beardy's gullet? I don't actually know who's speaking here, but I'm assuming it's Kid. Do you realize how much we could have sold that for? Kid kicked the floor in frustration and snapped her fingers. And then drains on all sides of the room suddenly opened wide. The red water formed eddies as it sank away. Helpless, the pteranodons were washed away with the current. Soon, only a trickles of water were left, slowly dripping away. Well, that's a stroke of luck, ain't it? Guess we won't be sleeping with the fishies tonight, grinned Kid, looking at the empty pool. We crossed the drain room, making for the exit on the other side, and pressed on. So, as of last stream, or last session, we did go to the atrium. It was full of pteranodons. We didn't actually want to go in there because we would die. But I guess this actually makes it so that we can actually cross. We went through the atrium and continued down the corridor before finding ourselves at a fork in the road. So, we made it past the atrium. My goodness. Corridors stretched off to the left and right. You know what? I don't know if the map suggests if left or right is the way to go, but maybe let's check out what I assume is the Manor's dungeon. We continued down the corridor, eventually reaching an old, rather sturdy-looking door. Okay. Bloody marvelous. Another bloody door with a bloody magic barrier on it. Wonder what's inside me. Sixth sense tells me it ain't treasure, Kid whispered back to us as she examined the door. suspect that this is the Manor's dungeon, replied Magill, his eyes closed in concentration. I can hear the sound of someone moaning in the darkness on the other side. But there is nothing we can do, and thus it is of little concern to us now. Let us turn back. With no way of getting through the door, we retraced our steps down the corridor. So I guess that's closed for us right now. Hopefully we can save whoever is in there. After making our way down the dark corridor, we came to a branch in the path. The path to the right would take us back to the atrium with the fountain, and the corridor also continued directly ahead, but the way was completely enshrouded in darkness. And so we moved forward, folks. We continued down the dark, dank corridor until some stairs leading downward finally came into view. So let's go down the stairs. Slowly we crept down the staircase, descending deeper into the shadows as we went. At the bottom, we found ourselves at another intersection. The dim, narrow passageway branched left and right. Okay, so there's a guard room and there's a small kitchen. Now I can tell you right now, I am hungry, and so let us go to the kitchen. And if this map is correct, it means that we have to go right. That's a good cider. We followed the corridor for a while before coming across a small door.
Get a whiff of that. Something smells good.
Some whispered kid sniffling in the air. Let's go inside. We opened the door.
Blimey, this is a small kitchen.
Really, kind of looks like a weird toilet, or like a furnished room. Maybe like an engine room almost. Must be for the servants, commented Magill. I scanned our surroundings. A basin for washing dishes, cooking utensils, some food made ready for tomorrow, and a mousetrap. It looked like any other commoner's kitchen. Kid walked over to a large pot filled with food and peered inside. Looks like tomorrow's lunch.
Wanna try some, Serge?
I think I'll pass. I made my excuses as politely as I could. Kid clicked her tongue in disappointment.
Alright then, you want some, Mag?
No.
Oh, fine. Well, if you're afraid to try it, I ain't touching it either,
she said, turning her back onto the pot. Suddenly, a little voice rang out. You there, the young man with the braid. Kid froze.
Oi, what you calling me, a bloke?
Kid barked angrily in the direction of the voice was coming from. A mouse was looking at us with eyes like saucers, from the inside of the mousetrap hanging from the wall in a corner of the room. Oh, I am sorry. You're a young lady, I see. The mouse bowed its head in apology. Please, kind young lady, you must hear me out. The mouse put its paws together and stared pleadingly at Kid. I left the nest to find food for my mother, but as you can see, I managed to get myself caught in a trap. If you leave me here, I will surely be eaten by goblins. Kid eyed the little creature suspiciously. And I don't know, but I decided to give the mouse the voice of what's his name? Batman's butler in the Batman trilogy. It'll come to me. Kid eyed the little creature suspiciously. I beg of you, please, free me from this trap. My mother is sick and she'll be terribly worried about what has become of me. The mouse was clearly begging for its life, but there was also an odd little glint in its eye. Kid shrugged and sighed.
Fine, guess we can't just leave you to rot. Hold still, let me get you out of there. She lifted the trap down onto the floor and opened the door. The mouse bounded happily out from inside. Chehehe! The mouse gave a wicked chuckle. You poor naive fool. Suddenly, its body began to balloon massively in size. Okay, I think we're up for a battle here. Bugger me, a griffin! The enormous creature stared balefully down at us. Come on, dude. A mouse became a griffin? Idiot humans! My mother's not sick, but yours will be when she sees what I've done to you. You dirty little swine, and after all I've done for you. His face was red with anger. Griffin gave an almighty cry and leapt right at us. Its razor-sharp talons sliced through the air. Caught off guard, I tried my best to dodge the attack, but the blow never came as the griffin suddenly lost its balance and came crashing to the ground. That's unusual. This might be an easy battle after all. Oh bother, I'm too hungry to even fight properly. What on earth? I breathed a sigh of relief, running a hand down my chest. Alright, little mouse. Now it's time for the real show to begin. Kid walked up to the griffin, cracking her knuckles. Don't. Please, kindly, young lady. This is all a misunderstanding. A terrible misunderstanding. Panicking, the creature leapt to its feet. You can't kill me. I have useful information. If you let me go, I promise I'll tell you everything I know. Everything. Yeah. I know how much of a promise the likes of you is worth. Kid took another step toward the griffin, not skipping a beat. Sorry about that, folks. It seems like my throat just disagreed with something. Rock! Please! Kid kept on coming. The griffin kept on shrinking away. Enough! Miguel called for Kid to stop. Let's hear it. Oh, thank you, kind sir. The griffin was beside itself with relief. Spoiled my fun, wouldn't you? Grumbled Kid, pouting as she turned away. Listen well, O merciful savior. Right thrice, left twice, right twice. And I think we need to remember that one. So right 3 times. Right, left, right. 3, 2, 2. Should you find yourself trapped in one of Lynx's swirling snares, remember my words. With that, the griffin returned to its mouse-like form and disappeared into a small hole in the wall. Trapped in Lynx's snares? Ha! As if I'd be thick enough to walk into one of his traps. Let's get out of here. We wasted enough time already. Kid turned on her heel and made for the door. We left the kitchen. Suddenly, Kid stopped in her tracks. Something's there. I quickly looked around to see what it was. There was nothing behind us or in front of us. Where could it be? And then, just as I was trying to figure it out, the wall began moving. A rectangular section opened up and swung around, revealing 2 enormous goblins clinging to the back. Really? It was like something from one of those stories about assassins sneaking around in old castles. More goblins. You goblins? Screamed Kid. They definitely looked like goblins to me. Maybe a touch on the large side. There were 4 in total, 2 cutting off our path of escape. Megill rushed toward the two behind us. Meanwhile, Kid leapt to her front, holding her knife in both her hands. I drew my knife and rushed to Kid's side. Crash! The spiked ball of Goblin's Morningstar smashed into the ground, crushing the storm flooring. Kid nimbly leapt up in the air, evading the attack and landing on the Goblin's exposed hand. She swung upward toward the Goblin's head, plunging her knife into its left eye. Then she flipped backward and stood ready for the next attack. That was Kid's style. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. That is quite the reference. Actually, right before we potentially lose this battle, we actually saved the game. Probably not in mid-battle, but maybe right after this if we survive it. The next goblin charged in. I'm gonna try and copy Kid. If she can do it, I can do it. I jumped in the moment just before the attack like the Morningstar crashed into the stone tiles. All I had to do next was land the goblin's hand, finish it off with my knife. Oops, I missed my landing, tripped up the hand instead, and wound up flat on my back. Why? That's not how I meant for it to happen, I thought. And then I looked up. The goblin was towering over me, swinging its Morningstar over its head once more. I am done for. My life was flashing before my eyes, but then a knife shot through the air, plunging into the back of the goblin's hand. This was my chance. I buried my knife deep in the creature's heart. While the goblin was distracted, I seized my chance and leapt towards it, aiming my knife directly at its heart. Thud! The blood disappeared into the goblin's chest, but then clunk! Something struck me squarely on the head. Oh wait, I know what happened. It slowly dawned on me as I faded out of consciousness. The dying goblin had dropped his Morningstar on me. Oh, I am dead. And that was how I died. Wow. Well, that was a loss, unfortunately, and there's no do-overs in this game. So I guess we're going to try and retrace all that. So let's do it. Let's get a move on. I definitely should have saved in the middle at some point there. So as I recall, go inside. And so the mirror will start speaking very shortly. There's Megill. And you know what? I'm not gonna examine the bed. Let's look at the antique box. I picked up the small wooden box on the bookshelf. I gently opened the lid and I was greeted by a soothing melody. Radical Dreamers. A music box. There was something about that song. I know this tune. Kid was standing next to me and I could see something had changed in her expression. You do, huh, Kid? Someone used to sing it to me a long time ago. So, something like that makes me, sad. If we're following the Chrono Cross storyline, Kid was raised by Luca, and yeah, Luca died life-saving, kid. She turned her gaze downward and went silent. Kid, startled, she turned to me. Her eyelashes glistened as if wet with dew. She walked to the door, not saying a word. Hey kid, wait up. We left the room. Was she crying? Was kid crying? Maybe I was just seeing things. So we're going to Lynx's room. We're gonna go into the darkness and we're going to go into Lynx's room. Can I save here? Well, okay, I don't know if we can save here. Or we can save here. Yes, we can. We're gonna keep going to Lynx's room. So we've already been here. Oh, I didn't want to turn back. And so we go into Lynx's room. And so we've gone through this, the mirror appears. We see the mirror, it gives us a clue. And so we have to check for the key. Where the vault was. Purple cover in the furthest bookshelf. Now we can leave. Let's go all the way back to the vault. Let's go up. We climb back up and we go to the past the terrace and ideally to the treasure room. Oh, wait a second. We're actually supposed to go to the study to get the key. Leading the group as usual, Kid suddenly stopped. What's that? She jabbed her finger at something in the darkness. Staring much, I could see a pale white bundle of something shaking in the shadows. Well, that's strange. I moved in front of Kid to try to get a better look. Sorry, I'm reading this because this is not expected. And then suddenly the strange presence started crawling across the floor towards us at an unbelievable speed. I didn't have the time to brace myself. The white figure reached my foot, then reared up to its full height. It was a skeleton. This is a random battle. Simply I saw it staring right at me. Let's tackle it. There was a crunching sound and clattering balls. The skull was knocked back by the blow. Body split clean in two at the waist. Better luck next time, muttered Kid dryly. Some response skills up her body pickled itself up from the ground, turning its skull towards me. Balancing his body with his left hand, and then pulled the skull from his head with his right hand. What's it doing? before I could get the words out, it had heaved the skull at me. Dodge. The skull sailed past me as quickly as I stepped aside, only to smash into Kid, who was standing right behind me. That bloody hurt. What did you move out of the way for? She returned the favor by thumping me in the back of the head. Then I walked over to where the skull lay on the floor and stamped on it, shattering it to pieces. The skeleton collapsed, falling apart with a clatter. It didn't move after that. That was unexpected. We're done here. Let's get moving. Whew. I'd taken a few knocks, but it was alright. A scrape or two wouldn't stop me. Maybe you ain't such a drongo after all. Just goes to show any old weirdo can make something of themselves if they put their mind to it. Kid's eyes glinted with mischief. We headed down the side passage. At the end of it, we came to an old, immaculately polished door. This was the study. Okay, let's go inside. So we need to find that purple book. So let's get what we want. And now let's make our way back to the treasure vault. Let's go past the terrace. And so that's the clock tower. We should continue. Before we go forward, we're gonna go ahead and save. So we're gonna go inside. Still as creepy as ever. And this is where we find the fake frozen flame. Carefulness. But of course, it is a fake frozen flame. Let's get ready for battle. We're gonna face a goblin horde here. Ah, kid. So we plumb through this, find somewhere to hide. Everyone hides. Excusez-moi. They chatter for a bit. They start looking, and Kid starts making some noises. So first we do a mouse, I believe, then we do a cat, and then we do a heron, which doesn't exist. Because heron say heck. Okay, here we go. Save Kid. Save Kid, save the world. Five goblins. Let's see how we fare here. Okay, Lord Lynx's elite guard. Here we go. Parry. Landing a heavy blow right in the goblin's unguarded flank. The goblin's face crumbled in agony. Echo conjured up a black wind which surged forth like a shearing tempest. How does a human know a spell like that? Who are you? The goblin was quickly silenced as rushing winds tore through it, and it collapsed to the floor with a final shriek. Echo looked down at his victim, his expression unchanged. And the goblin flew down from overhead. Bombs away! The growled sent its morning search swimming from above, rolled away, rolled across the floor, dodging the attack. But I wasn't fast enough with the iron ball crushed straight. Oh no! I let out a howl, and the force of its impact shuddered through my body. I never felt such raw pain in my entire life. I rolled around on the floor in agony. Ha ha ha! Dance for me, boy. Let me hear you sing. As I crawled to the floor, the shadow of the goblin towered over me like a black mountain. Die, brat! His lips curled around his fangs, and the engraving and raised his weapons over his head. Oh no, you don't. You'll have to get through me first. The goblins hesitated for just a moment, only to be run through by the speed of pure lightning conjured up Magiel. The goblin let out a blood-curdling howl as electricity coursed through his body. He clutched awkwardly at his chest where it had been struck, his face contorted with agony and horror. Magiel's cape fluttered, his piercing eyes stared coldly at his victim. None who define me shall escape my wrath. My head was spinning, but I managed to take the opportunity to rise to my feet. Golf strike incoming, and I parried. Just about managed to push my enemy's attack aside and tried to strike back with my knife. Landing a heavy blow right in the goblin's unguarded flank. The goblin's face crumpled in agony. And the goblins hesitated for a moment, only to be run through by a speed of pure lightning conjured up a Magiel. The goblin let out a blood-curdling howl as electricity coursed through its body. He clutched awkwardly at his chest where it had been struck as his face contorted with agony. Echoes came fluttered, his piercing eyes stared coldly at his victim. That he'll find me, shall escape my wrath. The goblin flew down from overhead, bombs away, and roll away. But come on. So it's just parry the entire time? I let a howl as the force of the impact shuddered across my body. I never felt such raw pain in my entire life. I rolled around the floor in agony. Ha ha ha! Dance for me, boy. Let me hear you sing. As he crawled on the floor, the shadow of the goblin towered over me like a black mountain. Die, brat! Ha ha ha! His lips curled around his fangs and the angry. He raised his weapon over his head. Oh no, you don't. You'll have to get through me first. lightning conjured up Magil. Okay, so we've seen this happen already. None who defy me shall escape my wrath. Long live Lord Lynx! Bloody the Quap Squad! And that was the last of them. Okay, so the hint is parry every time, I guess. So we get a hand at some point. A bonding moment between Surge and Kid. One of the things that I've, I guess, come to notice is that I like Chrono Cross. The Kid and Surge in this game both wield a knife, which is different than Chrono Cross because Surge uses the Sea Swallow. And that's the pedal plate that we need. So let's get out of here. Alright, I'm gonna save right here. And with that, I'm going to take a quick break, folks. I'm gonna get one final drink for the evening, and then we will continue on our adventure. I will see you on the other side of this break in about 3-4 minutes or so. Okay, and we are back in the midst of trying to pick ourselves back up after a loss in Radical Dreamers. Trying to find the treasure here, and we found the treasure in the form of a metal plate. Before we move forward though, let's go ahead and check out what's on tap for the final drink of the evening. This is actually Dragon's Milk, which I've had a number of times on stream. And the reason why I've had this a number of times is because it's a wonderful finisher. And so a lot of the times I'll finish the day by having one of these. Dragon's Milk is a bourbon barrel aged stout. Well, what is a stout exactly other than a dark beer? A stout is an ale actually made with crystal malts, which are very specific types of... Sorry, I was just looking at the audio levels here. Made of crystal malts and other darker grains. The nifty thing about that though is that it is not only just made by boiling these grains actually go through a process of toasting, which makes them go beyond that porter style output. It gives them that blackish character which you come to know and love. Stouts generally have flavors like coffee. They're darker in character. They taste slightly more like caramel. They've got a nice roast to them. Some of them are actually quite chocolatey. So I feel like there's stouts for all palates. Importantly, I believe that there's a lot of pastry stouts which are made off of stouts. And so you can actually infuse the flavor of a lot of baked goods into the taste of stouts. It just blends in really well. And the brewery, which is a brewery known as the brewery, does a lot of them. They have a line called the bakery, which fosters a lot of that particular sector of beers. In terms of a bourbon barrel aged stout, this simply means that the beer itself was actually put into fermentation inside a bourbon barrel, which means that the beer itself actually takes up some of the qualities of that bourbon barrel beer and incorporates it into its own flavor profile. With that, let's go ahead and see what Untapped has to say on the issue. And let me go ahead and go into live sound. Alternate. So that's a mighty 11%. Throughout the ages, Dragon's Milk has been used as a term to describe potent ales and elixirs worth of celebration, a reward at the end of its journey. We are proud to be stewards of that ancient tradition today, handcrafting each batch of Dragon's Milk Bourbon Barrel Aged Stout in Holland, Michigan. The best liquid in our house is now yours. Roasted malts deliver notes of coffee and chocolate married with sweet undertones of vanilla and oak from a 3-month stay in bourbon barrels. So at least 3 months in that bourbon barrel. Let's go ahead and open that bad boy and see what that's like. Fortunately, I've got my bottle opener here. And as I suggested, stouts are generally opaque. They don't have a lot of head, which is good depending on what you want. And that's what it looks like. It's got a milkish aroma, very fragrant, a strong vanilla, other spices, fingernail everywhere. And a sickly sweet, I want to say, strong notes of maple. Very light on the hops, very light on the earthen notes. Fairly crisp, actually light body, which is actually Not necessarily the most common thing for stouts. And they say light on the earthen tones overall, but then you come down and try to get a mouthfeel for the uniqueness of it. It does have a certain little bit of steeliness. Um, it's more like milk rather than mud, if that makes sense to anyone out there. It's quite good. Dragon's Milk is one of my favorite beers, and I implore you to try it if you see it out there if you haven't had it before. It's certainly not something to start out the night with, but it is certainly something to finish it with. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break to check in, update the ticker, and on the other side, I'll see you for today's game, which is Radical Dreamers, of course. Be right back. Okay, and let's put the audio back where it needs to be. Okay, so we've got the plate. I think we need to go back to the statue that shows us. We need to go past the terrace and onto the statue. Before we do that though, I'm gonna go ahead and save. I should be saving more often. And I just saved, I guess. Let's go up the staircase. Study. I don't think we need to go back there. I think I'm a bit lost here. We have to turn back, right? So that's the clock tower. We need to go back. Okay, we're on the right side of the house. So we don't want to go to the study. We don't want to continue onward to the ballroom. We want to go down the stairs. And we don't want to go to the rooms, so we want to go to the atrium. And that's where we encounter the pteranodons, of course. So we're gonna go to the mouth of Beardy. Here we are. And then the mouth responds. What the? What's going on? In a panic, I look for Maggle for answers. Okay, so this is when the atrium defloods. Okay, so we make it past the atrium. And thus we go left and right. We go left first in order to check out the dungeon. But unfortunately we can't go into the dungeon because it is concealed or locked away by magic. And so we want to head to the kitchen. And there's the door to the kitchen. Let me go ahead and save here. And there's that rat that eventually will become a griffin. And the mouse is about to become a griffin. And we're gonna go into battle mode. Here we go. stuck. And of course, the griffin loses his balance. It kind of can't fight because it's been a mouse for so long. And I believe it's right 3 times, left twice, right twice. And I was right. I still remember it properly. Imagine that. Me and my small memory. If only she was interested in such things. And so let's check out the guard room, which is, I believe, where we met our fate. Let's go ahead and save. Well, reckon this might be where to find the key to the door upstairs. No getting past that bloody magic barrier without it. Kid pressed an ear against the door and listened carefully. Doesn't sound like anyone's in there, she whispered. Wait, I want to actually go in. Let's go inside. And this is where we last left off. The room had seemed completely silent from the outside, and so we had thought it would be empty, but there inside was a lone goblin. It was sitting in a chair with a book in its hand. A light steam drifted from the teacup on the table in front of it, and with it, a delicate aroma. That's interesting. The goblin peered at us curiously over its spectacles. There was something different about this one. I could tell as much at a glance. Heavens! How rare it is to have guests. Heavens! How well spoken for a goblin. I could only feel dread and suspicion at the sight of him. Nonetheless, wow. Okay. Get in the game, Ales. And if you can cheer, maybe provide some wily conversation there, I would certainly appreciate it. One of the things that I remember from my youth is that when I used to make very long drives, I want to say 14-hour plus drives, one of the things that would energize me the most was just engaging conversation. So, not gonna force anyone to do anything they don't want, but if you got something to say it now. It would be very much appreciated. Sorry, mate, but we're not your guests. Cough up the key to the dungeon if you want to live. Kid slammed her knife into the table to illustrate her point, but the goblin didn't so much as flinch. Ah, you must be kidding. What a pleasure this is. I have always so wanted to meet you. Why, you're even more ravishing than the rumors would. Before the goblin could finish, Kid's knife flew through the air. With a quick flick of his wrist, the goblin caught the blade with the back of his book, a mere inch from his face. I see that your approach is as radical as the name of your merry band would suggest, the goblin said, pulling the knife free and handing it back to Kid. She took it without a word. But her gaze had changed. She was like a cat, cautiously studying its prey. And I was just getting to the good part too. Ah, well, I suppose I shall have to give up on ever finishing it now. The goblin casually flung the book over his shoulder and into a nearby bin. Allow me to introduce myself, if I may. I am Grismeld, and I am the guard on watch. No need to stand. Please, do take a seat. You're welcome to tea, of course. Goblin beckoned us to sit down. Did he mean to poison us? If I may. Magil calmly took a seat, ignoring the obvious suspicion in the air. I will sit down next to Magil. Wow. I will probably need to wrap up soon, folks. I am falling asleep. I'm gonna say maybe like 15 more minutes or so. I decided to trust Magil's instincts and took a seat next to him. He had some kind of plan in mind, I was sure of it. Kit didn't look like she'd be pulling up a chair anytime soon. She was standing with her arms crossed, eyeing the goblin suspiciously. The goblin poured 3 cups of tea. Here you are! Without the slightest hint of hesitation, Magil took his teacup and lifted it to his lips. He sipped, then placed the cup back on its saucer. Heel Mylan tea, not a blend I'd expect you to find here. What a pleasure it is to encounter a fellow connoisseur. Yes, it's a rare blend, and one merely enjoyed by the noble classes. I couldn't believe the conversation I was hearing, but I also couldn't help wondering what this rare tea might taste like. My eyes rested on the cup that had been poured for me. I couldn't shake the fear that it might be poison, but I also couldn't ignore how delicious it smelled. Before I knew it, the cup was in my hand. This is great, I blurted out. I'd never had such a delicious brew in my entire life. That's a lie, because we've got such a thing like this. My aches and pains faded away. Thank God. I glanced over at Kit, who was blowing manically at the liquid in her cup. I'd forgotten that she was paranoid about burning her mouth on things. Now that we're comfortable, let's get down to brass tacks, as they say. I do indeed have the key to the dungeon, as you surmised, but you will also be aware that I cannot simply give it away. I glanced over to Kit again. Typical. She wasn't listening to a word Grimsmell was saying. She was still huffing and puffing at her tea. It seemed like it would be up to me to respond. So, give the key. I'm gonna go for the straightforward. Here's the key. And try not to fall asleep here, folks. Give us the key and you get to live, I said, trying to sound as threatening as I could. Alright, I think that's enough of this. I am definitely reeling you, folks. Save. Wow, I cannot just blanked out there for a moment. Okay. Let's leave it there. And let's go back to the
intermittent. Turn on the forecast. Alright, so I think we're where we need to be. Apologies, folks, for finishing up tonight's stream just a bit early, but I am definitely reeling, and you certainly don't want to see me waffle through one of these very important interviews. If you want to see me again, I'll be back on Thursday afternoon. I'll probably be playing No More Heroes 2. And on Friday, I will be going back to the world of Super Metroid. I might do an Elden Ring stream in the Tap Room Tales with John and Nails Corner. So, without any more waste of your afternoon tonight, stay thirsty, Wolfkin. We'll see you again. Take care.